Have you ever felt like you're always there for others, but when you need someone, they're nowhere to be found? Or maybe you've given so much of yourself that you're left wondering, do they really care about me, or do they just need something from me? It's frustrating, isn't it? And let me tell you something, this isn't love. This is dependence. And if you don't recognize it, it will continue to drain your energy and keep you stuck in relationships that don't truly serve you. Today, I'm going to help you break free from this cycle. It's time to stop giving without receiving and start reclaiming your worth. You deserve to be loved for who you are, not for what you can do for someone else. Stick with me, because today marks the moment you decide to stop being their backup plan and start being the main character in your own story. When you give and it feels like no one's really giving back, it's time to ask yourself, are you really being loved, or are you just being needed? There's a huge difference between these two, and you need to recognize it. Love is reciprocal. It's mutual respect, trust, and care. But when people only come around when they need something, that's not love. That's convenience. And you're just an option in their life, not a priority. You deserve more than that. You deserve relationships that lift you up, not drain you. So take a hard look at who's in your circle. Are they there for you just when it's convenient, or are they showing up for you, no matter what? It's time to break free from the dependence trap. The reason people gravitate to you when it serves them is simple. They know you'll give, they know you'll be there, and why wouldn't they take advantage of that? But here's the hard truth, as long as you keep allowing it, you're just reinforcing this dynamic. You're enabling it, and it's keeping you stuck in a loop of unbalanced relationships that drain your energy and leave you feeling used. But you don't have to be their backup. You don't have to be the one they call only when no one else is available. You have the power to change this. You have the power to demand respect and value in your relationships. It all starts with recognizing the difference between real love and convenience. The hidden cost of conditional love is this: it keeps you stuck. It keeps you from moving forward, from building real healthy relationships, and from becoming the person you were meant to be. You give, but at what cost? Your time, your energy, your sense of self-worth, they all get drained. And when you're running on empty, you can't show up as your best self for anyone, least of all for yourself. So ask yourself, are you giving too much? Are you pouring into relationships that don't reciprocate? Because if you are, it's time to stop. You don't need to keep sacrificing your well-being for others. It's time to start reflecting on whether your relationships are truly giving back to you in the ways you need. Now let's talk about validation. How many times have you caught yourself chasing someone's approval, waiting for them to tell you that you're enough, that you matter? Let me tell you something, that validation from others, it's fleeting, it's unreliable, and the more you chase it, the weaker your sense of self becomes. When you rely on others to define your worth, you'll always feel like something is missing. But what if I told you that the only validation you need is from yourself? What if I told you that the moment you stop waiting for approval is the moment you start truly owning your life? You have to stop seeking external validation. The danger is that it makes you lose sight of who you really are. It shifts your focus away from what truly matters, your own values, your own desires, your own dreams. If you let someone else decide your worth, you will always be at their mercy. And that's not living, that's existing. You deserve to live a life where your worth comes from within. It's time to look in the mirror and say, I am enough. I don't need anyone's approval to be great. It's time to reclaim your power. You were not put on this earth to be someone's backup plan. You were meant to lead your own life, make your own decisions, and live on your own terms. When you stop accepting second-rate treatment, when you stop being the person people turn to only when they're desperate, you begin to take control of your story. Your time is valuable. Your energy is precious. And when you start treating yourself like a priority, others will follow suit. It's about setting a standard for how you allow others to treat you, and that starts with you. When you're no longer the backup plan, you become the lead role in your own life. It's a shift from being the supporting character in someone else's drama to being the hero of your own story. You're no longer waiting for someone to need you. You're showing up for yourself, demanding the respect and care you deserve. And when you do that, you rewrite your narrative. You stop being an afterthought. You stop being the second option. You start being the first choice. And let me tell you, the world will respond to that confidence. It will respect you. It will value you. Now let's talk about relationships. It's time to surround yourself with people who truly value you, not because of what you can give, but because of who you are. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, care, and trust. They're not one-sided. They're not based on convenience. They're genuine. And if you find yourself in toxic relationships, it's time to let them go. It's time to stop holding on to people who don't honor you. Holding on to toxic relationships only drains your energy, and it keeps you from opening space for people who truly care. Building real relationships starts with you. You can't expect others to value you if you don't value yourself first. When you honor yourself, when you set healthy boundaries, you begin to attract the right people who will treat you with the respect and care you deserve. So ask yourself, are the people around you lifting you up, or are they draining you? Are they showing you love, or just taking when it's convenient? If it's the latter, it's time to make a change. Strengthening your self-worth is not about proving yourself to anyone else. It's about acknowledging your own value. It's about recognizing that you are enough right here, right now. People pleasing only leads to exhaustion, frustration, and resentment. But when you stop losing losing yourself in the process of making others happy, you finally start living authentically. And that's when the right people start showing up in your life. People who see you for who you truly are, people who value you for your heart, your mind, and your spirit. And finally, breaking the cycle. The cycle of giving too much and receiving too little. The cycle of unbalanced relationships where you're always the one sacrificing. The cycle of constantly seeking validation from others. It's time to break free. It's time to create lasting change in your relationships and in your life. This isn't just about setting boundaries or cutting toxic people out. This is about transforming how you show up in the world, how you treat yourself, how you allow others to treat you, and how you build relationships that are based on respect and mutual care. Taking bold action means no longer tolerating disrespect. It means no longer accepting second-rate treatment. It means taking a stand for yourself and saying, I am worthy of love, respect, and everything I've been dreaming of. And when you do that, everything changes. You start building relationships that truly honor who you are. You start living a life that aligns with your values, and you start creating the future you've always wanted. It's time to stop being their backup plan. It's time to reclaim your power. It's time to build relationships that truly value you for who you are, not just for what you can do for others. This is your life, this is your moment, and you are more than enough. Let's go. Have you ever found yourself wondering if the people around you truly care about you, or if they just need something from you? Have you felt like you've been giving and giving, only to realize that when it's time for you to get something in return, no one's there? If you've been stuck in relationships where you feel more like a resource than a person, you're not alone. This is something many of us experience, but it doesn't have to be your reality. Today we're going to tackle this hard truth head on. You deserve more than relationships that feel transactional. You deserve genuine care, not just convenience. It's time to wake up, recognize the patterns, and take control of the relationships you allow into your life. This is your wake-up call, because once you see these patterns for what they are, you can finally start making changes that lead to healthier, more fulfilling connections. Get ready, because we're about to break free from the illusion of love. When was the last time someone reached out to you just because they cared? No strings attached, no favor to ask. If you're struggling to remember, that's a red flag. We often confuse affection with convenience, but love should never feel like a transaction. If people only come around when they need something from you, that's not love, that's need. And there's a huge difference. You are not meant to be the backup plan. You are not meant to be the one who gets called only when it's convenient for others. Real love is about being there for each other no matter what. But when you're constantly being used, you need to ask yourself, are you really being loved or just needed? The hard truth is that many relationships are built on this very pattern. People only reach out when they need something. And if you're not aware of this, you'll keep allowing it to happen. This is not a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of their lack of genuine care. People will take advantage of your kindness, your loyalty, and your willingness to give. But here's the thing, you are not obligated to keep giving when you're not getting anything in return. Love should feel mutual, not transactional. If you've been caught in this cycle, it's time to reflect. Ask yourself, when was the last time someone reached out to me without needing anything? The emotional toll this kind of pattern takes on you is real. Over time, you begin to feel depleted, frustrated, and even invisible. You're there for everyone else, but who's there for you when constantly being in this kind of relationship dynamic can destroy your self-esteem. It makes you feel like your value is tied to what you can provide, rather than who you are. But I'm here to tell you, that's not true. You are valuable just because you exist. You don't have to give endlessly to earn someone's love or attention. True love doesn't come with strings attached. It's time to set boundaries, stand up for yourself, and stop accepting anything less than what you deserve. Now let's dive deeper into why this happens. Why do people love only when they need something? It's not always malicious. It's often just human nature. Some people only reach out when it serves them, because they've learned to see relationships as a transaction. They view love, support, and companionship as something to be given only when it benefits them. This creates a one-sided dynamic where your needs are ignored in favor of their desires. They don't care about you for who you are. They care about you for what you can provide. And while this might feel uncomfortable to admit, it's an essential truth if you want to break free from this pattern. Emotional manipulation is often a part of this. Some people will use your kindness to get what they want, knowing you won't say no. They will twist your willingness into an obligation, making you feel guilty for not being there for them. But here's the thing, their behavior is not your responsibility. You do not have to keep showing up when it's always about them. They're not there for you in your time of need, but they expect you to be there for them. This imbalance creates feelings of emptiness. You feel used, not loved, and that's because you are. And if you allow this to continue, it will only leave you feeling drained and unappreciated. So how do you break free from this cycle? It starts with awareness. You need to recognize when people are only interested in you because of what you can give them. Ask yourself, why do you keep allowing these relationships to thrive? Why do you keep giving even when you're getting nothing in return? Is it because you fear letting go? Or are you hoping things will change? The reality is nothing will change unless you make the decision to change it. You hold the power in recognizing these patterns, and once you see them, you can take action to stop them. When you recognize these one-sided relationships, you have a choice. You can keep enabling them, or you can take control. When you stop giving in to these dynamics, you stop enabling the other person's behavior. You stop accepting less than you deserve. Relationships should be built on mutual respect, not convenience. And the only way to shift this dynamic is by taking responsibility for the role you play in allowing these relationships to continue. You have the power to stop being someone's backup plan, and when you stop enabling these one-sided connections, you create space for healthier, more fulfilling relationships. The key to moving forward is realizing that this isn't your fault. It's just a pattern that's developed over time. But now that you see it, it's your responsibility to break it. It's time to embrace the empowerment that comes from recognizing that you can walk away from toxic relationships. You don't have to keep tolerating people who only reach out when they need something. You deserve relationships where you're valued for who you are, not just what you can do for someone. And here's the truth, by breaking free from these need-based relationships, you gain back your time, your energy, and your self-worth. What will you gain by breaking free? You'll gain your freedom. You'll gain respect. You'll gain relationships that are built on mutual care, not selfish needs. Most importantly, you'll gain the clarity to surround yourself with people who truly value for who you are. When you stop settling for less, you begin to attract what you deserve. People who will love you, support you, and be there for you. Not just when it's convenient, but because they genuinely care. This is your wake-up call. The power to change is in your hands. Let go of the one-sided relationships, embrace the relationships that lift you up, and step into the life you truly deserve. Have you ever found yourself constantly seeking approval from others, hoping that their validation would fill the emptiness inside you? You've been there, right? Waiting for a compliment, waiting for a thumbs up, hoping that someone will notice your worth. But here's the hard truth. You can chase that validation forever, and it will never be enough. You can bend yourself into a pretzel to please others, and it still won't fill that gap. The more you chase, the more elusive it becomes. You deserve better than this. You deserve to recognize and embrace your worth, without needing anyone else to confirm it. Today, I want to help you break free from this cycle of dependence. Together, we're going to explore how to stop seeking validation from others, and start finding your self-worth from within. This isn't just about feeling good for a moment. It's about creating lasting confidence that will propel you forward in every area of your life. Let's dive in, because once you stop chasing what you can never keep, you'll start to unlock your true power. If you've ever spent days, weeks, or even years chasing after approval, you know how draining it can be. The cycle is unending. You seek validation, get it for a moment, then realize that it doesn't fill you the way you thought it would. It's like a temporary fix, a quick high that fades just as fast as it came. And so you keep seeking. You tell yourself, if I just do this, if I just say that, if I just act this way, they'll finally see me. But here's the thing, that kind of validation will never satisfy you. It's a cycle that never ends, and you'll find yourself always on the lookout for the next compliment, the next piece of approval. But when you rely on others to validate your worth, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. Because no one can make you feel worthy if you don't first believe it yourself. This is a hard truth, but it's the key to breaking free. Seeking external validation will only leave you empty. Think about it, how many times have you felt drained, frustrated, or even invisible after waiting for validation that never came? You've done the work, you've put yourself out there, you've tried to impress or please someone, and yet nothing. The recognition, the love, the respect you were hoping for never showed up. Why? Because you were chasing shadows. You were relying on people who might not even see your value, or worse, might not even care. And in the end, it's not about them, it's about you. You cannot base your worth on someone else's opinion, because their view of you is always going to be fleeting and inconsistent. External validation is a mirage, appealing in the moment, but it will never satisfy your thirst for self-worth. When you understand this, you'll stop chasing the illusion and start living in the truth that your value comes from within. The truth is, seeking external validation is an illusion that keeps you trapped. The more you rely on others for your sense of worth, the less you allow yourself to build true confidence. This is where people-pleasing comes in. You might not even realize it, but the need for approval can quickly turn into a dangerous habit. People-pleasing is the silent killer of your confidence. Every time you put others' needs before your own, you slowly erode your sense of self. The more you try to make others happy, the more you lose sight of what makes you happy. The more you chase their approval, the further you move away from your own values, your own desires, and your own needs. And in the end, you're left feeling drained, unappreciated, and stuck in a cycle of self-neglect. Think about it. How many times have you sacrificed your own needs to make someone else happy? You've done it over and over, thinking it would make you feel good, thinking that if you just made others happy, they would recognize your worth. But in reality, you're just giving away your power. You're letting others define your value instead of owning it for yourself. And every time you do this, you lose a little bit more of your own sense of who you are. You begin to feel empty because you're not living for yourself, you're living for others. This kind of people-pleasing behavior will only leave you feeling exhausted and unfulfilled. It's time to stop giving away your worth for free. You are not meant to live for others' approval. You are meant to stand in your own truth, embrace your own value, and never let anyone diminish who you are. But here's the good news. You have the power to change this. True confidence comes from within. It's about recognizing your own worth without needing anyone else's permission or approval. You cannot wait for others to make you feel good about yourself. You must take responsibility for your own happiness. It starts by shifting the focus. Instead of looking outward for validation, start looking inward. Begin to nurture your own sense of self-worth. Remind yourself that you are enough, just as you are. The moment you start prioritizing your own approval over others is the moment you take back your power. Imagine what could happen if you stopped waiting for others to validate your worth and started believing in yourself, regardless of what others think. This is the key to lasting confidence. Your worth is priceless. It's not something to be handed out freely to anyone who comes along. Just like a treasure, your self-worth must be protected. Not everyone deserves a piece of it. The people you let into your life must earn the right to share in your value. You can't give away your worth to anyone who doesn't recognize it. And when you start treating yourself like gold, valuing your own worth, you will start to see the world around you shift. Relationships will change, your sense of self will strengthen, and you will attract people who value you for who you truly are, not for what you can give them. The moment you stop handing over your power is the moment you start living your life with purpose and confidence. Now, I want you to reflect on this. Why are you still waiting for people who can't even recognize your value to give you what you deserve? The love, the respect, the recognition you've been waiting for has always been within you. Stop handing over your power to others. Stop waiting for their approval. You are the one who gets to decide your worth. You don't need anyone else's validation to feel whole. When you stop looking outward and start embracing your own worth, that's when the real magic happens. You'll step into a life where you are in control, where you don't need anyone else to define your value, because you've already done that for yourself. Have you ever found yourself caught in the endless cycle of giving without getting anything in return? You've been generous with your time, your energy, your heart, and yet you feel drained, unappreciated, and stuck. It's as if you're constantly doing for others but never taking care of yourself. What if I told you that the reason you feel so exhausted is because you haven't set boundaries? Yes, boundaries. It's not a concept we often talk about, but it's one of the most powerful tools you have to protect your time, energy, and mental health. Today, we're going to dive into the power of setting boundaries and how this simple practice can completely shift the way you approach your relationships, your work, and most importantly, yourself. By the end of this talk, you'll understand that setting boundaries isn't about shutting people out. It's about protecting your most valuable resource. It's time to break the cycle and take control of your life. Let's start with the basics. Boundaries are not walls. They are lines of protection. Boundaries are essential for your well-being, your energy, and your time. Think of them as the invisible lines that keep you safe. They protect your mental space, your emotional energy, and even your physical health. Without them, you're wide open to being taken advantage of, drained by the demands of others, and stuck in a cycle of overgiving. But when you set boundaries, you take back control. You begin to define where you end and others begin. You create a space where your needs, your time, and your energy are respected. And that's where your power lies. But here's the catch. Many people misunderstand boundaries. They think boundaries are selfish. They think that by saying no, you're being rude or inconsiderate. Let me tell you something. Boundaries are not about selfishness. They're about self-respect. When you set boundaries, you are telling yourself and others that you matter. You are telling the world, I value myself enough to protect my time and energy. And here's the thing, if you don't do it, no one else will. You are the only one who can protect your space. So when was the last time you allowed someone to walk all over you because you didn't set a boundary? Think about it. How much of your energy and time have you wasted because you didn't say no when you needed to? Now let's talk about why people disrespect boundaries. It's a harsh truth, but kindness can sometimes be mistaken for weakness. If you're always giving, always saying yes, always putting others before yourself, people will start to take it for granted. They will exploit your generosity. It's not intentional, but it happens. People may not see that you're overwhelmed, that you're stretched thin, or that you're exhausted. And you may keep saying yes even when your plate is full because you don't want to let anyone down. But here's the problem. When you don't set boundaries, others begin to expect more than you can give. You become a source of endless giving, but there's no one there to give back to you. The emotional cost of this is steep. You may think you're doing a good thing by helping, by giving, by pleasing others. But what happens when you don't set boundaries? You start to feel drained, resentful, and worst of all, unappreciated. You may be giving away more than you can afford, your time, your energy, your emotions, and in the end you'll find yourself feeling empty. Because here's the truth, people who don't respect your boundaries don't truly value you. They may say they care, but actions speak louder than words. If they truly valued you, they would respect your limits. And let me be clear, you're not here to be a doormat. You're not here to live for others' approval. You deserve to have your needs met too. So ask yourself, how often do you feel drained or resentful after giving too much, without receiving the same in return? Here's where the real shift begins. Setting boundaries isn't selfish. It's an act of self-respect. It's a necessary step to protect your mental and emotional health. When you start respecting yourself, others will start respecting you too. The power of self-respect lies in knowing when to say no. It's not about shutting people out. It's about protecting your energy for the things that matter most. Boundaries are the foundation of healthy relationships. When you set them, you create a space where you can thrive and where others can respect your time and energy. The key to attracting healthy relationships is this: if you don't respect yourself, no one else will. And here's the beauty of it. Once you start saying no to what doesn't serve you, you free up space for what truly does. You start filling your life with things that bring you joy, peace, and fulfillment. So how do you begin setting boundaries? It's a skill, not an instinct. You don't have to go from 0 to no overnight. It's okay to start small. You can begin by saying no to minor requests, things that don't align with your needs or priorities. You don't have to explain yourself or feel guilty. In fact, saying no without guilt is a powerful act of self-care. You're not letting anyone down. You're simply protecting yourself. Every time you say no to something that doesn't serve you, you're saying yes to your own well-being. The key is consistency. Setting boundaries is like building a muscle. It gets easier the more you practice. And over time, your boundaries will grow stronger. The more you stand firm, the more you'll attract people who respect your time, energy, and needs. And here's the thing, when you start setting boundaries, you'll find that you don't feel guilty anymore. You'll realize that taking care of yourself isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. So what's one small boundary you can start setting today that will protect your energy? Maybe it's turning down a request that you don't have time for. Or maybe it's speaking up about a need you've been ignoring. Whatever it is, take that first step. It's time to reclaim your power. Now, let's talk about the consequences of not setting boundaries. When you neglect to protect your time and energy, it starts to take a toll on you emotionally, mentally, and physically. You begin to feel drained, resentful, and overwhelmed. You might start losing touch with your own needs because you're so focused on meeting everyone else's. And the cost doesn't just affect you, it affects your relationships too. When you don't set boundaries, you invite toxic or one-sided connections into your life. People who take without giving, relationships that drain instead of nourish. The real cost of not setting boundaries is that your value begins to diminish. When you allow people to walk all over you, you send a message that your needs don't matter. And the more you give, the more others will take, until you're left with nothing. It's a cycle that repeats itself, leaving you feeling empty and used. So ask yourself, what is the real cost to your happiness when you don't enforce your boundaries? How much more will you give before you finally realize that the most important relationship you have is the one you have with yourself? It's time to break the cycle. It's time to set boundaries that protect your energy, your time, and your well-being. You deserve it. Start small, stay consistent, and remember that every time you protect yourself, you are strengthening your self-respect. It's not selfish, it's necessary. And once you start, you'll never look back. Because when you set boundaries, you create the space for a life that honors your needs, your value, and your worth. And that is something worth fighting for. Have you ever felt like you were always the one showing up for others, but when you needed support, they weren't there? Or perhaps you've given your time, your energy, and your heart, only to be treated like an afterthought, as if you're just the backup plan. I know the feeling of being stuck in that cycle, waiting for others to value you while giving them everything you have. But here's the truth, your time is your power. If you don't start reclaiming it, you're giving away your potential, your peace, and your life. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to stop being their backup plan and start taking your seat at the table. You deserve more than being treated as an option. Let's break free from this pattern, starting with one simple but life-changing realization. Your time is yours, and it's time you take control. Let's talk about time. Your resources are limited, and that's a reality you need to accept. Every minute of your day is precious, more precious than you might realize. When you allow others to waste your time, you're giving them a piece of your life that you'll never get back. Time is the one resource we can't replenish, so you have to guard it like the treasure it is. Think about all the times you've spent on people who don't value you. Those who take but never give, those who treat you as an afterthought. How much potential have you wasted? When you give your time to the wrong people, you drain yourself of energy that could be better spent on what truly matters: your goals, your growth, your happiness. Reclaiming control of your time means prioritizing your energy for the things and people who value you. Don't allow anyone to take your time for granted. Ask yourself this: who or what are you allowing to drain your time and energy that no longer deserves it? Is it worth it? Now, I want to shift your mindset from being the backup plan to being the main character in your own life. You are not a last resort. You are not a filler. You are not someone to be left behind when it's convenient. It's time to stop accepting the role of option number 2 and start demanding to be treated as the priority. Every time you settle for being second string, you tell the world that you're okay with being overlooked. But here's the thing: you deserve better. You deserve to take your seat at the table and stop allowing others to make you feel like you're just a placeholder. You are worthy of being the main character in your own story, not a background player in someone else's. When you start showing up for yourself and demanding to be treated with respect, you will be amazed at how others will start to treat you. No more second string roles. Step into your worth. When was the last time you accepted being treated as less than you deserve? Life is your stage, and it's time you see it that way. Too often we sit in the background waiting for others to give us permission to shine. We hold back, thinking that someone else has to notice our potential before we can step into our greatness. But let me tell you something: your life is your stage and you are the lead. If you keep waiting for permission, you'll be stuck in the shadows forever. The moment you realize that your story is yours to tell is the moment you step into your power. You don't need anyone's approval to take center stage. You don't need validation to own your worth. Stop letting others control your narrative. It's your story to write, and it's time to start writing it. Ask yourself, are you ready to step into your spotlight and stop letting others control your narrative? Now let's talk about taking back control. It all starts with you. Stop waiting for permission from others to define your worth. You don't need someone else to validate you. You need to validate yourself. No one can give you the power to live the life you want. That's something you have to take for yourself. Building the life you want is a choice you make every day through your actions, your decisions, and the boundaries you set. Empowerment isn't something that just happens to you, it's something you create through the way you live. Don't wait for someone else to give you the life you deserve. Take charge of your destiny now. Every small action, every decision you make to honor your time and your worth adds up, and those actions will shape your future. So what's the first step you can take today to stop letting others define your worth? Finally, let me give you a dose of tough love. Stop letting people use you. When you allow others to take advantage of your time, your energy, and your resources without giving anything back, you set yourself up for constant disappointment. The cycle of overgiving and under-receiving is a trap that keeps you stuck. But you don't have to keep repeating it. You can break free from this pattern by simply deciding that you won't give to people who never appreciate you. The truth is, every time you let someone treat you as a backup plan, you rob yourself of your own potential and peace. You lose sight of what truly matters: your growth, your happiness, and your future. Ask yourself, are you ready to stop giving to those who will never truly appreciate you? It's time to stop being the backup plan. It's time to be the priority, the lead, the one who takes control of their life. Today is your turning point. It's time to reclaim your power, take control of your time, and stop letting anyone treat you as less than you are. You deserve more than to be the afterthought. You deserve to be the one in the spotlight, living the life you've always wanted, and it all starts now. Take the first step. Stop waiting. Take control. Your time, your life, and your potential are yours to reclaim. It's time to stop being their backup plan. It's time to step into your power. Have you ever felt like the person you've become isn't the one you truly want to be? Are you tired of living according to other people's expectations, constantly putting others' needs before your own? You know, the feeling of being stuck in patterns that don't serve you anymore, like being trapped in a cycle that holds you back from becoming who you really want to be. Well, today is the day you can break free. I'm here to help you shed the old version of yourself, the one who constantly says yes when you should say no, the one who sacrifices your peace for everyone else's comfort. It's time to build a new identity, one that reflects the true power within you. This isn't just about changing your habits, it's about changing who you are at the core. Let's talk about creating a new you, one who knows their worth, sets boundaries, and embraces growth. You've got the power to change, and I'm here to show you how. It all begins with letting go of the old you. You've spent years, maybe even decades, living according to others' needs, trying to please everyone around you, and suppressing your own desires. It's time to stop being the person who always says yes, even when it means sacrificing your peace. Let me tell you something. You are not obligated to put everyone else first at your own expense. It's time to reclaim your self-worth. Stop letting others dictate your happiness or make you feel like you don't deserve to put yourself first. Think about all the times you've said yes to things you didn't want to do. What did it cost you? Your time, your energy, your well-being? You're allowed to say no. In fact, it's necessary for your growth. It's time to step into the person you were always meant to be, the one who honors themselves and their needs. You deserve to be the person who chooses what serves them, not the one who constantly sacrifices for others. Ask yourself, what are the old patterns or beliefs you're still holding on to that no longer serve you? Building the life you want means building the relationships you deserve. Too often, we settle for relationships that don't uplift us, that drain us, or that leave us feeling unappreciated. But the truth is, real love and real connection are built on mutual respect, trust, and support. There's a difference between relationships that are genuine and those that are based on conditions. Conditional love, love that comes with strings attached, that only exists when you meet certain expectations, will never fulfill you. Healthy relationships aren't about what you can do for someone else. They're about mutual growth. You need to identify the people in your life who support you, who push you to become better, and who love you for who you are, not just for what you can give them. These are the relationships that help you grow. And here's the thing, when you begin to grow yourself, you attract the right people into your life. You don't need to chase after people who don't value you. When you become the best version of yourself, the right people will naturally gravitate toward you. Ask yourself, are the people in your life lifting you up, or are they keeping you stuck in old patterns? But there's another critical part of this journey, letting go. Letting go is never easy, especially when it involves relationships that have held a place in your life for a long time. But holding on to toxic relationships only blocks your growth. If you keep allowing people who drain you or hold you back to stay in your life, you're giving them power over your future. The freedom that comes with releasing what no longer serves you is immeasurable. When you let go of what's holding you back, you make room for something new. New opportunities, new relationships, and new experiences are waiting for you, but only if you're brave enough to create space for them. Sometimes walking away is the most empowering thing you can do. It's not about being cold or unkind. It's about respecting yourself enough to say, I deserve more. It's about choosing your peace over the chaos. Ask yourself, what toxic relationships are you still holding on to, and what are they costing you? Now let's talk about building healthy habits, because this is where the real work begins. Self-love isn't just a phrase, it's a way of living. The way you treat yourself sets the tone for how others treat you. When you nurture yourself, you show others how to treat you. This isn't about being selfish. This is about being strong enough to set boundaries that protect your peace and your growth. Setting boundaries isn't about pushing people away. It's about making sure that the people who come into your life respect your limits and your needs. You have the right to say no to things that don't align with your values. You have the right to prioritize your own well-being. When you start setting healthy boundaries, you'll notice that your relationships begin to shift. You'll start attracting people who respect you for who you are, not just for what you can do for them. And here's the key, when you choose quality over quantity, you make room for relationships that are truly meaningful. You don't need 100 friends, you need a few who truly have your back. Ask yourself, what habits or actions can you start today to build stronger, healthier relationships? Finally, it all comes down to taking control of your story. You are the author of your life, and the power to write your next chapter is in your hands. Too often, we wait for others to define us, to tell us who we are and what we're capable of. But you have the power to decide who you want to be, what you want to achieve, and how you want to live. Your growth starts with taking full responsibility for your life. No more waiting for permission. No more looking for validation from others. You have everything you need to step into your true worth and start living the life you've always dreamed of. The only thing stopping you is you. Don't let fear, doubt, or the opinions of others hold you back. It's time to take that first step toward a new version of yourself. A version that doesn't wait for anyone's approval. A version that knows their worth and stands tall in their power. Are you ready to take that first step toward becoming the person you're truly meant to be? Your new beginning starts now. Take control of your story. Your future is waiting for you. Are you tired of being the person others call only when they need something? Feeling overlooked, undervalued, and stuck in the shadows while others take the spotlight? You've been giving away your energy, your time, and your heart, and what do you have to show for it? Maybe you've been waiting for someone to recognize your worth, but no one has stepped up. Well, let me tell you something. This is your wake-up call. It's time to step out of the background and reclaim your power. No more waiting for others to give you the validation you crave. No more giving away your energy to people who don't see you. It's time to take the reins of your own life. Today marks the day you start living life on your terms. The person you've been waiting for, it's you. You are the one with the power to change your reality, and I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Together we'll break through the walls of self-doubt, unfulfilled relationships, and fear that have held you back for too long. You deserve love. You deserve respect. You deserve everything you've ever dreamed of. Let's dive in, because this isn't just about motivation, it's about real lasting change. It's time to own your power and claim your life. Let's get started. It's time to stop playing small. How many times have you held back, played it safe, stayed quiet, or hidden in the shadows? You've been downplaying your potential. And for what? To avoid attention, to fit into a mold that doesn't even feel right. Let me tell you something. You are meant for more. Your dreams, your goals, your vision. These things are calling to you, but you've been ignoring them. Why? Because you've been playing small. You've been hiding your light under a bushel, and it's time to let it shine. The truth is, staying small doesn't keep you safe. It keeps you stuck. You might think that playing it safe protects you from failure, from disappointment, from criticism. But here's what's really happening by staying small. You're robbing the world of your gifts. You're denying yourself the life you're truly capable of living. Every time you hold back, you're sending a message to yourself that you're not enough, that you're not worthy of stepping into your full potential. But here's the truth, you are enough. You've always been enough. So, let's talk about owning your power. It's not enough to just talk about it. You have to take action. You have to decide that from this moment on, you're going to show up for yourself. Step one is to recognize your worth. You don't need anyone's permission to go after what you want. You don't need anyone to validate your dreams. It all starts with you. The next step is to stop dimming your light. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. The time is now, and it's about consistency, taking one small action each day that moves you toward the person you were meant to become. So ask yourself, what would your life look like if you stopped playing small and started living fully? Next, let's talk about something crucial, boundaries. If you've been giving away your energy to everyone around you, there's a good chance you've been letting people walk all over you. And let me tell you something, it's not just a bad habit, it's a pattern that's keeping you stuck. You are the gatekeeper of your time and energy. If you don't protect it, no one else will. Boundaries aren't just a good idea, they're essential. When you don't set boundaries, you're inviting chaos into your life. You're telling people that it's okay to drain you, to take from you without giving anything in return. Boundaries are about self-respect. They aren't selfish, they're necessary. Saying no doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a person who values their own well-being. When you set boundaries, you protect your time, your emotional energy, and your peace of mind. And guess what? People will respect you more when you respect yourself. You don't have to explain yourself or justify your boundaries to anyone. Simply say no when you need to. Create space for the things and people that truly matter. Start setting boundaries today, not tomorrow. Begin protecting what matters most, your time, your energy, your life. So ask yourself, what areas of your life do you need to establish stronger boundaries to reclaim your energy? Now let's talk about relationships. Too many of us are holding on to relationships that are draining us, relationships that are toxic, and relationships that don't support our growth. But here's the hard truth. You are the average of the people you surround yourself with. If you're surrounded by negativity, doubt, and drama, that's what you'll end up feeling. It's time to stop tolerating people who don't honor you. It's time to let go of those who take from you without giving anything back. Mutual respect is the foundation of all healthy relationships. The people you allow into your life should support you, challenge you, and encourage you to become the best version of yourself. But that's not going to happen if you keep holding on to toxic people who only bring you down. It's time to clear the space for those who will lift you up. You deserve to be surrounded by people who respect you, who are there for you through thick and thin, and who celebrate your success rather than feeling threatened by it. You attract the energy you put out, so when you start valuing yourself, you'll start attracting people who value you too. Ask yourself, are the people in your life lifting you up, or are they holding you back from your full potential? Finally, it's time to take action. Too many people sit around waiting for the perfect opportunity, the right time, or someone else's approval. But I'm here to tell you that you don't need anyone's permission to live the life you want. The world isn't going to hand you success on a silver platter. You have to go after it. The good news is that you don't have to make huge life-altering decisions all at once. Start small. Take one step today that moves you closer to the life you deserve. One decision, one action. That's all it takes to start building the life of your dreams. It's about building momentum, one decision at a time. Don't wait for everything to line up perfectly. Start today. Small actions lead to big changes, and those changes add up. Every time you make a decision that aligns with your goals and values, you're building the life you deserve. Don't let fear or doubt hold you back. Take action. Your future self will thank you. Ask yourself, what's the first action you can take today that will move you closer to the life you deserve? Now is the time to stop waiting, stop playing small, and stop letting fear dictate your life. Your power is within you. It's time to own it. Take control. The life you've always wanted is waiting, and it all begins with the choices you make today. Step into your power. You've got this.